All right. Welcome to a Monday night edition of Unapologetic with Chet and Duffy here on the Fans Only Sports Network. Chet and Duffy back in action again, baby. Duffy, how are we doing today?
Chet, I'm doing fantastic today. A little disappointed, honestly. After some events yesterday, we're going to talk about that soon, but
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you can see that in the background right there. But I mean, other than that, I mean, how's things down at school, man? Living life?
good Monday, good day of school. Monday's kind of a busy day. I had an exam today.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, it was open notes. One of those Mickey Mouse exams,
Mickey Mouse
Um,
exams.
one of those exams where she's like, you can bring a full page of
Mm-hmm.
notes, which is
Yep.
dope. So, I mean, I'm not going to complain.
I mean, the only thing I can complain about is this weather and the fact that cold season that's upon us. That's coming very
Yeah,
soon.
I've been a little bit sick, actually, now that you say that.
That's what Caroline told me earlier today.
You kind of realize the real people are when you're sneezing and no one says bless you.
Yeah.
It
No,
comes back every allergy season.
yeah. I was that one kid in high school that would sneeze and nobody would say bless you.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. But all right, enough of that jibber jabber, all that
You
talk.
remember that? Do you kind of hold a grudge, though?
Do I hold a grudge? I mean, I don't care anymore. High school is high school.
Facts.
It's just BS. It is what it is. But all right, let's bring in our guest of honor who we had in last week, Cam Rancourt. Cam,
yes,
welcome back again, baby. Welcome back
Chet.
to Unapologetic.
Chet and Duffy, thank you. Back on my favorite show. Happy to be here. Second appearance. Got some more topics to get into. We got my segment. Is he the guy saying it? We're excited. We got a lot of names on the list.
Yes, sir.
A couple of guys that seriously boosted their stock this week, so I'm excited to get to it. We'll see what you guys think.
Absolutely. But first, on the itinerary of business here, as we mentioned in the background there, Patriots fall in Lambeau Field in overtime. Final score of 27-24 as Aaron Rodgers and the Packers move up to 3-1. Patriots fall to 1-3 on the season. We walked into this. I mean, I picked the Packers going into it. I know you picked the Patriots, Duffy, and I had total doubt in New England, but the Patriots surprised me a lot in this one. And especially with rookie QB Bailey Zapp coming into the game, Zappy, he really kind of surprised a lot of people in his appearance, especially after Brian Hoyer went down early in this one.
Yeah, that was a crazy game. It was a crazily disappointing game.
Mm-hmm.
When it was all said and done, it was a crazy game. Like you said, Chet didn't really have too much faith in New England, especially in Brian Hoyer. But kind of proved me wrong off the first drive. When the Pats were pushing the ball early on in the game. Got up 3-0 early. Kind of stalled after Hoyer went down, but Zappy kind of picked things up, like you said. And kind of impressed. Was the first rookie quarterback in 2000.
I was going to say that.
Throw a touchdown pass. Sorry to steal your nugget, Cam, but I was impressed with what he could do, but I was disappointed when it was all said and done with the way they used him. I feel like they didn't really trust him. And did they have a right to trust him? Not really. But when you're on the road against the Green Bay Packers, in a game that you're not even supposed to win, really, I think you kind of take a chance. You take more chances out than the Pats took enough chances yesterday in order to close things out and win the game.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, reading into it, it was just like they didn't really want to go out and win. They were trying to make the Packers lose them the game, They were just trying to not make that first mistake. And they kind of did on that first half when Bailey Zapp fumbled, but you got the pick six right away. But it just never felt like how many times did they pass the ball on first down? I think that's once, I think it was. I feel like they just never do it. The Packers expected it every time. And at the end of the day, the kid's in the NFL. If he's you got to trust him. They just didn't trust him at all. It felt like there was no confidence in his ability, and that's the reason they lost. The overtime was they did their job on the first drive, and then all you have to do is go score 3 points, and then you run the ball twice and do a pass that obviously didn't work. I just felt they didn't try to win the game. They just wanted the Packers to lose it for them.
Yeah. I mean, yesterday I was working, so I got to watch bits and pieces of the game, but I watched a highlight reel before I came on here. And I mean, like you said, it was a really interesting game throughout. But at the end of the day, it definitely came down to the coordination of the offense once again, playing a little too conservative at times, running the ball right away on first down, as you mentioned, which the ground game did all right. Stevenson and Harris had solid days, solid outings. Harris finishing it off with a touchdown. But, I mean, it's kind of the same story with Mac Jones. It's almost like they're really putting a leash on these guys in a way and not really doing too much in terms of letting the kids play, if you know what I mean. So, I mean, the defense did its job. They did what they had to do to keep Aaron Rodgers down. And I mean, when do we usually see Aaron Rodgers throw a pick six? It's very rare.
It only happened twice
yeah.
at home in his career.
In and of itself, it's an extreme rarity.
It was Jack Jones, too, the rookie. The fourth-round pick. Jack Jones might be Defensive Player of the Week this week, if you remember. That first Green Bay drive, he had the forced fumble and the fumble recovery.
Yeah.
Romeo Doubs. So this guy, Romeo Doubs, almost sold on the game twice with the fumble recovery, with the fumble and the drop in the end zone at the end of the game, which was crazy, by the way. Rodgers threw a dot right there. But I think at the end of the day, man, Bill Belichick sold this game for the Pats. And Patricia and Joe Judge, the play callers, the scheme, it didn't work, especially on defense too. Playing so soft on that game-tying touchdown drive in the fourth quarter, and all the receivers played way back. And all of them that's how the touchdown ended up with Romeo Doubs to tie things up. But I mean, there's multiple drives in this game, not even just in overtime, but in the whole game, they kind of just solidified the Patriots just sucking. I mean, or the play call sucking specifically. And the most overlooked drive of this game was the drive after the aforementioned fumble recovery by Jack Jones. I mean, they had the ball at midfield, and they ran it, 3 times in a row and gained 8 yards maybe. They came back to bite them. That sequence. That's what sticks out to me. And that's how they ended up losing the game, ultimately. Getting to the 50-yard line on the punt return and then only gaining, 8 yards again.
I will say, quickly before we may transition to something, I think Tim Duffy is the biggest Bill Belichick hater I know. Every game
in recent memory.
Every game I watch with Tim, he's always throwing Belichick slander left and right. If he retired this year, I think Tim would be the happiest person in the building. You're a hater, man. I don't know what to say. You're a hater.
I mean, at the end of the day, Bill Belichick hasn't done anything without Tom Brady. Nothing.
You're one of those guys.
Without Brady, there is no discussion, or he's not even in the debate for the greatest coach of all time. He would have been out of the league head coaching by 2005, maybe.
That's a hot take right there.
If Brady doesn't carry his legacy starting in 2001, Belichick is done as a head coach in the NFL by 2003 or 5.
I mean, just a Belichick hate. It's
fine.
I don't know, man. That's a very bold take.
I'm telling you right now, bro. He would have kept Bledsoe. He would have been mediocre AF because they just gave Bledsoe a 10-year extension in 2001. And he wouldn't have had the balls to start Tom Brady. He doesn't have any balls. Everyone knows this. He is a coward. Bill Belichick has no balls.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Let's see, bro.
Whoever pushed this philosophy into Duffy's brain, I really, really hate them right now. This is not the Duffy I've known for the last 6-7 years. Are you kidding me? How are you going to put all the blame on Belichick at the end of the day? You can't expect the guy to go out there and win a Super Bowl in a span of 3 years without Tom Brady, and then not only that, transition the franchise from one type of offense to a totally new type of offense, new players, new schemes. It's constantly changing.
Yeah, if Belichick is really the greatest coach of all time, he would have figured it out at least with one playoff win to show for it by now. I'll tell you that. This year, Pats are probably going, 6-11?
Have you seen their next 7 games?
Detroit,
It's like Lions, Cleveland,
playing the Browns, Cleveland,
the Bears.
Winnable games. Very
It could
winnable.
Easily
games.
be 4-3 in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah,
Very
and then
easily.
you'll stop crying as
And then-
usual.
Dude, I'm not crying. I'm being a realist. Like you guys, I'm trying to end my Boston bias BS and just be honest with myself.
I mean, hey, we're only 4 weeks into the
overrated.
NFL season. It's not the time to sell on this team just yet. Will they do anything notable? Probably not. They're last place in the AFC East as of this moment,
Pats
but
do
is there
have a lot of
potential?
winnable
Yeah,
games, though. You're right. You're right. They have a lot of
There's
winnable
still-
games.
there's still potential.
They got a lot of their tough games out of the way.
But it's
If Belichick makes the playoffs this year, I will suck back everything I just said.
yeah, well, I guess that's just a wait and see. But to keep it in
And
this
I'll
moment,
apologize. I'll apologize.
some positive, like one of the positive takeaways from here is the performance of Bailey Zapp. That's Bailey Zappi. I feel like he definitely performed extremely well, so much to the point where, I mean, obviously I wouldn't go ahead and say this right away, but just seeing his play from this week, even one of my coworkers kind of looked over to me and just said, maybe we just start him over Mac Jones.
Ooh.
Yeah, which is a bold take.
Ooh.
But it's an interesting fact right there because we saw him put up
Crazy question.
a great performance right out of the gate. Struggled at times, but I mean, a solid performance throughout.
I mean, can we
I
talk about
wouldn't-
that touchdown pass? What happened on that first touchdown? Why was that not a delay game? That didn't make much sense to me.
Because the refs kind of had our back there. I'm not gonna lie.
That was a solid 2 to 3 seconds after
Because they called the play before and they're like,
Yeah.
man, let's not make the young rookie feel uncomfy twice in a row, which was nice for Pats fans. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean,
Yeah.
Romo was like, "Oh, they got it again. They got it again." Then they didn't call it, and he threw the touchdown. It was crazy.
Yeah.
That was pretty scripted.
But then you look at what the Patriots defense let up. I mean, in terms of the passing game, 251 total passing yards from Aaron Rodgers. And then on the ground game, 199 from the team total. Aaron Jones finishing on the day with 110 yards on the ground. Alan Lazard finished with 116 yards through the air. Big question is, what is the problem with this Patriots defense?
I don't even think there's a problem. I mean, I think yesterday's first half solidified this defense is legit. They're going to keep us in games. We saw Miami the last few weeks. They're a legit offense. Pats held them to 20 points, or actually 13 points. One of those touchdowns was on defense. Held the Steelers because they suck. But the Ravens, Lamar Jackson could be the MVP this year. So, but that second half, I'm not going to blame the defense. I mean, that's just greatness by Aaron Rodgers. He just turned up. We saw it. He threw 2 touchdown passes. He was like 10 of 11, just dotting up the Pats. So, this defense though is legit. I feel like they're going to keep the Pats in a lot of games, and they're going to show what they're all about these next few weeks with this Mickey Mouse schedule the Pats got coming up. But greatness is greatness. Rodgers even threw that dot at the end of the game that got dropped, and that's what he's going to do. He's going to do that to you. So,
I feel there was a problem, and the answer just walked into the door at Foxborough, and his name is Mr. Jamie Collins. How about that, huh?
Yeah.
Every time he's one of those guys you just see he makes plays, man, and he's gonna make this defense elite if it wasn't already.
dude, I actually didn't even see that signing.
Yeah, they signed him to the practice squad with the implications that he's going to get promoted to the starting roster.
He'll be on the roster by week 5, probably by Saturday.
Hey, it's Belichick getting back some of those old reliable players that helped him win championships with that solid defense that we saw back in 2014. Now at this point, Jamie Collins.
The linebackers are a problem, though. That's right.
Yes.
Jamie Collins could be that leader for these younger guys. And maybe he still got it, man. Maybe he still got that speed the Pats lack in the middle of the field. But I like this secondary a lot. They really stepped up yesterday. Held Rodgers 3 of his first 12, 38 yards of the pick. It was way without. And they gave us a stop in overtime, which I wasn't expecting the Pats to get the ball back when the Packers win the toss. But Jamie Collins, man, New England hero.
Dud.
Yeah, final thoughts on this game. Definitely a lot closer than I expected. And yes, I do agree. I think the defense has just been the saving grace for this Patriots offense that really has had so many struggles. For Mac Jones, just not really looking the greatest that were, at least in the light we saw him from last season. And then the fact that he goes down and gets injured, Brian Hoyer gets hurt, and Bailey Zappi comes in, plays solid, but there's still things that aren't working out, like tight ends, for instance. Hunter Henry finally getting involved a little bit yesterday, but Geno Smith injured, I believe, in this game, and now there's still questions about him because, Cam, we talked about this last week, how he's really been invisible in this Patriots offense. And it's almost like we just don't know how to use dual tight ends anymore, when for years this Patriots offense was so reliable on its tight ends, from Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez, and naming a whole bunch of other names that came in to complement Gronkowski. It's just the offense. They really need to figure out how to finish drives and just get the ball in the end zone and get the victory and walk out. Because at the end of the day, the defense can only do so much, and they proved it yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, what was it, his knee or his ankle? I'm not too sure. Like, did they come out with something today about how serious it was?
Let me check. I don't think it's anything too serious.
I mean, I'm not sure, but like you said, like, Pat's got Tyler Bennett that year. He had a ton of touchdowns. Him and Gronk were unbelievable. And then even Dwayne Allen in the two touchdown tight end system. He had a decent year that year he was with the Pats. And it just doesn't make sense. I mean, Henry, he had, 10 touchdowns last year? 10, I think? He had a streak of one per game for, recently.
Yeah.
It was a ankle injury.
Yeah, but Geno Smith, he didn't do anything last year. And, I mean, I guess Bill likes his blocking tight ends. I'm not big. I don't really know too much about the blocking stuff. But it seems as if they're good blockers, which might be the reason why they're there. But you don't pay those guys that much money.
Yeah.
And then there's one other thing we didn't touch on yet that I just thought into. Man, who's the highest paid punter in the NFL? It's freaking Jake Bailey. I feel like he didn't put punts in good spots all game. I thought his punts were pretty crappy. I don't know if it was the weather at Lambeau, but I felt he should have been pinning them a lot more. Like in the past, he was always one of their better players, putting punts at the inside the 5, inside the 10. I felt like one was at the 15, one just went right into the end zone. I don't know if it's Bailey or the punters that are playing. It just didn't look pretty for the highest paid punter in the NFL by $700K, I believe.
Wow.
He makes $4.5 million.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Pretty nuts.
Crazy. Yeah, he did it at 1 point goal in the end zone, and the Pats got pinned the very next drive at the 1 yard, which was a huge switch in field position.
Especially with that defense they got. It's tough to go 99 yards against the Pats. Bailey's going to be pinning them.
So, final thoughts before we head into the next part.
Go Pats.
Bailey's at best quarterback draft 2022.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I mean, we'll see more of Kenny Pickett
potentially. The Packers to win.
Yeah?
Yeah, you did. You did, buddy.
I didn't want them to win. I just picked them to win because, I'm a realist.
I'm just playing.
All right, now moving on into some other key matchups that were very interesting. The one that we had to circle with a big red circle was, without a doubt, the Ravens-Bills game. Now, that game was definitely quite surprising in terms of the way it kind of went. I expected the Bills to come in and potentially dominate, but Ravens really turned a lot of heads in this one, going into halftime with a 20-10 lead. And then in the second half, were virtually invisible offensively. And Lamar Jackson only held to 144 passing yards through 2 interceptions in the game and held to 73 rushing yards, probably one of the lowest totals he's clocked in all season. And for me, when I watched this game, I had a feeling that the Bills were not going to go down easy, despite being down at one point by a score of 20-3.
Yeah.
And for me, I just knew right away when I was watching the game, I was like, in the beginning, I was like, ooh, this could get ugly, but the Ravens never truly put their foot on the gas pedal and kept scoring and scoring and scoring. And I was kind of like, the Bills are going to get back in this. They're probably going to win.
Yeah, and they did. It's a great win by the Bills. I think this is a statement win for Buffalo. It's a team that was 0-6 in one-score games last season. So it's the first game-winning drive for Josh Allen since week, I think 11 of 2020. It's been a long time So same went for the Bills against a really good team in the AFC and the Ravens. Like I said, Lamar could win the MVP this year. I mean, it was a tough game for him on Sunday, but first half he was looking like Lamar. Second half, the Bills just got the best of him. Great coaching, great adjustment by the Buffalo Bills. So that's what they do all the time. But I think John Harbaugh deserves a lot more blame for his job on the Ravens. There have been multiple times since last season where a decision he made cost the Ravens the game. I think when they went for 2 against Pittsburgh to win the game last year, didn't get it. They went for 2 against Green Bay to win the game, didn't get it last year at one point. And then yesterday, 4th and goal from the 3-yard line. Best kicker in football. It doesn't really matter because it's only like 20 yards, but it's a tie game. You haven't had any points in the second half. They go for it. They run a pass play. Lamar Jackson scrambles all the way back to his own 20-yard line. There was a pick in the end zone. Bills waste the last 4.5 minutes and win the game. I mean, why not just take the lead there? I don't know, but I think John Harbaugh deserves some more blame. He's kind of like the Doc. I saw a tweet. He's kind of like the Doc Rivers of coaching. Just fighting off that one championship.
That's a good tweet.
So I just think Ravens should have won that game, and they just didn't make the adjustments. They just didn't make the play calls, etc.
Yeah, I felt, a big reason to why Lamar had such a crappy day because his favorite target didn't do anything either. Mark Andrews, one of my guys in fantasy. He had what, 2 catches for like 30 yards?
Something like that.
It was brutal, but credit to the Bills.
15 yards.
Yeah, credit to the Bills for clearly doing what Bill Belichick usually does, just taking out the number 1 target and making him go to everyone else, and they didn't really have the day they did. I believe it was the first game in 8 games the Bills didn't score a touchdown on their opening drive. But I felt the big turning point in this game was probably minute 46 left to go in the second half, 20-3. Josh Allen gets the ball. They go down the field and they get a touchdown. Compared to last week with the Dolphins, they missed out on, they had the fumble. Josh Allen fumbled the snap at half and they got no points. So they made sure to put up 7 to make it. It's a big difference from a 20-10 game to a 20-3 game. So they go out, put points on, give them that confidence in the second half. And then another stat I heard was Bills have let up 7 second-half points all year. 7 points in the second half.
Crazy.
And yesterday was a proof of that. The Bills have a great defense, and that's why they're the Super Bowl probably favorites right now.
7 points. That's a crazy nug.
It is. And going into the season, this was the team that I right away said, this is the team we'll probably see representing the AFC in the Super Bowl and potentially hoisting the Lombardi Trophy for Buffalo for the first time in franchise history. And looking at this team in general, it's solid. It really is solid throughout. There's really not many holes that you can point out on this defense. Something we have to point out is the fact that Mark Andrews was virtually invisible in this game. He was held to 2 catches for 15 yards, where last week he had over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Patriots. The Bills, they've looked at the tape, and defensively, they're able to circle these guys and these playmakers, including Lamar Jackson, and virtually render them useless. In the second half, Lamar Jackson looked horrible. 2 interceptions in the game total. And the Bills, Josh Allen, even though this game, and this is the one thing, I guess, actually, this is the one thing that I have to criticize about the Bills is Devin Singletary's all right, but the run game is terrible for Buffalo. I really don't see anybody running the ball besides Josh Allen. Josh Allen's the one guy who literally is using his legs throughout this one, especially in that second half, to gain a lot of first downs and just put this team in the proper position when there's nobody downfield to throw to. Zach Moss sucks. James Cook, I don't understand the hype anymore around him. I get it. It's Dalvin Cook's brother, but he's not that good. He really isn't that good from what I've seen. So that's the one thing I have to point out. But regardless, the Bills outplayed the Ravens from the end of the second quarter till the end of the game itself. And we're just seeing a very complete team. We're basically seeing a team very similar to what the Patriots were for a long period of time. And the Bills could be that team too.
Wow. Dude, they have not even won a ring yet, bro.
I'm just saying. It's foreshadowing.
Dude, what? What? Hey, that's crazy, bro.
How about a Bills-Eagles Super Bowl? Would the world just explode because of those crazy fans?
The world would explode.
I would go.
Bills
It would
Mafia
go.
versus the Bears. I'd be so upset because of Bowen. That'd be just terrible for us. And I'm a Bills Mafia guy, but like it's almost everyone is, so it's uncool to be a Bills Mafia guy now. Like you had to get on the train early on, but now it's just like, well, now everyone likes the Bills, so they're not even fun anymore.
It's true. Very true.
You know?
I agree.
I'm a Josh
I've
Allen
always
guy.
respected Bills Mafia, but now I feel like I gotta hate them because they're like good now and they're in the Pats division.
Have you seen that ketchup mustard guy at their tailgates?
Who? No, I don't know.
Oh
No.
my gosh, you guys gotta look that up. Everyone just chucks ketchup and mustard at this old dude. They literally just get it and squirt it, and he probably gets 10 pounds of ketchup and mustard all over him. It is crazy.
Ridiculous.
That's crazy, bro.
That's
I'm mad
ridiculous.
right now.
Oh my God.
Everyone,
It's all
But
over his face.
But a game I also want to discuss really quickly was last Thursday night's game between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Miami Dolphins. Final score in that one came down to the Cincinnati Bengals winning 27-15. This game definitely looked like it was going to be potentially a close one, but Cincinnati managed to pull away, and it was definitely because of the injury to Tua Tagovailoa, because Tua was slinging this ball. I mean, Tyreek Hill managed to finish with a great day. Jalen Waddle was definitely one of the more lackluster players in that offense. But
you're talking about 2 games and both of them featuring 2 guys on my team who sucked. Mark Andrews and Jalen Waddle. But
it's a tough break, man. But I mean, at the end of the day, we see Cincinnati finally take a good step forward. We didn't see them make a ton of mistakes in this one, but something I do want to discuss, guys, and I'm sure everybody else has discussed the hell out of this already, so we're a little late to the dance, but we'll get to it anyway, is the NFL really needs to discipline the Miami Dolphins for what they did to Tua Tagovailoa, because it is obvious, and there were reports of this when he was taken to the hospital. The doctor that was checking him out and everything said, and I quote, he goes, "You guys should be arrested for this because he clearly has signs of a concussion already present, and now it's even worse because he just got concussed again." Granted, they're doing the right thing of holding him out for this upcoming week, but they put their quarterback in danger of potentially, dying over this. It's serious. Concussions are very serious, and I feel like the Miami Dolphins really didn't do their due diligence in terms of the precaution of holding him out this week.
I know the NFLPA, Players Association, fired the doctor who cleared him, so that's a step in the right direction. But yeah, it was very serious. It was very scary too. So I saw my buddies when it happened, and they thought he got paralyzed at first, but like you said, Shay, it was kind of just more of a extra symptom from already being concussed, and it was really scary. It's very scary to any player that happens to. You ever want to see a player motionless? And just crazy, man. He flew back on the way home that same night, I guess.
Yeah, why would they fly him home with that? That's so weird.
You watched a movie with McDaniel too.
You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
What do you say? He watched a movie with McDaniel?
He watched a movie.
Yeah, McDaniel came out and said that him and Tua watched. They said the movie too on the flight home. It was like, aren't you not supposed to be? It was some dude quote tweeted, "I wasn't allowed to look at screens for 24 hours, 48 hours."
And then another important thing is you're not supposed to freaking sleep. That's another thing. You can't sleep.
Yeah.
I remember a buddy of mine in high school on the team. He said, "Oh yeah, I went to bed after he got a concussion." I'm like, "You're not? Are you stupid? What? That's not what you're supposed to do."
If you get a concussion, you go to bed. Can you die?
I don't know about die, but it's not helping your brain much.
But while we're on the topic, I will say Jalen Waddle was the star of one of Tim's teams in our league, who I think put up 70 points PPR. 70? Dude,
How many
points
per
all
reception do you get?
It was
My
like
team
halftime of the
so
4
good.
o'clock games, and Rodgers had negative at half, and Tim was at like 50. It was very bad.
It's really bad. Dude, I'm at 54. I finished at 54.
Wait, time out. How many points do you get per reception?
1 point.
What? Wait, you're telling me? Did you tell me Jalen Waddle had 70 points alone?
No, he had my team. My team had
Oh, okay.
50
I was
points.
like, bro, what is this point system? How does one player get 70 fantasy points?
Keenan Allen and Amon-Ra out, and I had Rodgers in my highest scoring out with 16. I had Taylor and Williams,
Mhm.
Jonathan and Javante combined for 7 points.
I started
And
the
I had-
Lions D in 8 and 3 leagues, -8.
Why would you do that?
Who?
Oh my God.
Started
That's
the
bad.
Lions D in 3 of my leagues.
The Lions, I read a stat about the Lions today. They're on pace to give up over 500 points, which would be the most ever by a defense in a single season.
Let's talk about that game real quick, actually.
Dude, the Lions-Seahawks game was pretty nuts. I definitely will agree on that. And I mean, I definitely have to give a salute to my boy TJ Hawkinson for giving me 35 points in this one. Definitely a big game for him, but it's probably going to be one of the few that we'll see from him this season. But Geno Smith has really surprised me because honestly, ever since he was on the New York Jets and now he's on and going from there to the Seattle Seahawks, complete 180. He's actually looking a lot better there. And when he was on the Jets, dude, that guy was a joke, laughing stock. I would laugh my ass off, giggle my ass off watching this guy play football. And now he actually has a pretty solid outing in this one. He finished with 320 yards and 2 passing touchdowns through the air, as well as 1 on the ground. And Jared Goff, I mean, despite throwing 1 interception in this one, threw for 378 and 4 touchdown passes on the day. This was an offensive shootout. Seahawks ended up winning by 3, final score 48-45. No defense, just full offense. I really wish I got to watch this game, though, from start to finish.
Yeah, this was a good one. A lot of points coming from behind for the Lions. Hit the over comfortably, obviously. Highest scoring game of the year so far. It was a lot of fun. Scoregami too, yes. And even before the Lions' last touchdown, 48-38 would have also been a scoregami as well.
Really?
Yeah, so I was looking at the Twitter page. It was dope. But Geno Smith and Jared Goff turning a lot of heads this year. Geno Smith completing 77% of his passes through the first 4 weeks. Jared Goff, top 5 in the league in passing yards, I think, and put up a lot of touchdown passes. Sure, they are 1-3. They should have won against the Vikings, but sold pretty bad.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Goff, 11 touchdowns, 3 picks in the first 4 games. Can't complain. He's been very serviceable this year, showing that he can be good without McVay. And Geno Smith, maybe the comeback player of the year if he keeps it up.
Ooh.
Maybe.
I mean, so you're looking at a guy who has Seahawks under 5.5 wins. Feeling real down bad about that. Not a good pick based on this first 4 weeks. But did you see I saw a graphic today, Russ versus Geno Smith through the first 4 games?
I did
That's
see
a good
that.
graphic for Geno.
Yeah.
What do you say? They wrote me off. I didn't write back. I mean, he's a clown. He's to WVU. There's some crazy pictures of Geno out there on the internet. I'm a Geno guy. He could be a name on my list of is he the guy? Maybe not, maybe. But I think the Seahawks are in a very good spot. Shout out Rashad Penny, boosting his trade value on my bench in a couple of leagues.
Nah, Colt McCoy's my guy.
Oh, I'm a Texas guy through and through. You know that. Colt McCoy, college quarterback ever. Second.
I was very shocked by Rashad Penny's performance in this game. I thought he had an excellent day, and Jamal Williams even crazier. I mean, he busted out a 51-yard rushing touchdown at one point in this one. And I mean,
big plays. It was crazy.
And then even DK Metcalf, 7 catches for 149 yards on the day. And then you have to circle TJ Hawkinson, an 81-yard reception at one point in this game.
Ugh, he killed me in a league.
Just a lot of big plays throughout. And this week was definitely, to kind of like sum up this week, week 4, just a lot of very interesting games for the most part. Some that we didn't expect to go certain ways. Jets beating the Steelers, Raiders beating the Broncos. A lot of interesting stuff. And then, of course, cherry on top, Chiefs completely dominating the Buccaneers, despite the score making it look a lot closer than it was.
Very true.
Yeah.
Chiefs got up big, and all the boys took the Chiefs. I faded, or all the boys took the Bucs. I faded them. Boom. Chiefs. Bucs suck, man.
They do.
You kind of like how Cam has. He's down bad being Seahawks under 5.5. I have Bucs over 11.5, which wins, which sucks.
It's a
Tom Brady always struggles through the first 4 weeks of the season.
Not really.
Yeah, really.
Well, Brady doesn't even like his own kids, so whatever.
Bro, he kisses them on the lips. Get out of here. Come on.
It's true. It's very true.
All right. Well, that concludes our week 4 look back on everything. Let's talk about 2 key injuries before we give you a Monday Night Football preview for tonight's matchup. Javonte Williams yesterday had a very ugly knee injury, went down. The team was very concerned, and today the MRI confirmed it. Torn ACL. Javonte Williams in his second season after having a spectacular rookie season will now miss the rest of the 2022 regular season. And for Broncos fans and football fans alike, it's disappointing to see such a talented back miss out on this year, especially coming into his next season.
Yeah, it sucks, especially as fantasy players. This is a guy that was on a lot of people's breakout year 2 radar, and he's on for the year, ACL and LCL both torn, and you hate to see it to a young player like this, especially a running back. You know how short their careers can be. You know, these are really the prime years of their career, really the first few years in the league, oftentimes. So you hate to see it. Hopefully he'll be back next year soon. And I'm still deciding on whether I want to trade for Melvin Gordon or not. But I don't know. That Broncos offense has been looking pretty abysmal.
Yeah.
Except
for Russ.
No, Russ has been pretty abysmal, except for yesterday.
Yeah.
He sucked. He has sucked the first few weeks.
I mean, everyone was buy high on the Broncos because they got Russ, and then Russ has arguably been the most disappointing part. Williams is dude. Now everyone's going to go run tomorrow. The name of the day will be Melvin Gordon on every waiver wire article you read. Maybe they'll go. I just looked up their depth chart. Mike Boone is the backup.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll get some looks. I believe he was on the Vikings for a little bit.
Yes.
But like even guys like Jerry Jeudy have stunk. Cortland Sutton, he's actually been pretty good so far the year. You just think that like the Broncos, they're one of my favorite teams in Madden because they got such an elite group of young receivers. They got Sutton, Jeudy, KJ Hamler, just guys that you can trust. No, Patrick Tim Patrick got hurt, I think, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
They just were a good young team, and now they had the defense. They got a coach. This was supposed to be their year to compete, and they've just looked like crap, to be honest. Even in their wins, they're just questionable wins that rode the defense heavily. But you got to feel bad for Williams at the end of the day. That's a serious injury. Like you said, Timmy, just the young running back, when they have such short careers, it's tough for a guy like that. Hate to see that.
So hopefully the best for Javonte Williams and especially Denver Broncos. We'll see if they actually step up with this injury. And finally, another notable injury, Cordarrelle Patterson going down with a knee injury himself, placed on the IR list. Last year was a waiver wire pickup. Nobody expected this dude to go off, and he picked up right where he left off last season, being very dominant, and now a knee injury. He will miss at least 4 weeks since he's placed on the IR list.
Yeah, I gave out the Falcons as an underdog pick on the show, and I did say Cordarrelle Patterson was getting a touchdown, but he's been carrying one of my fantasy teams, and now I don't know what to do. That team is now, unfortunately, 0-4. Yes, 0-4.
Oh, no.
Yeah, everyone point and laugh at me. I'm the 0-4 kid who just lost his best running back.
What league is
Although
it?
I had Eckler, too, but he stunk until this week, and I put up 110 in a non-PPR league. No PPR, 110, and I lost to 125.
That's just unfortunate. Yeah, Josh Jacobs, another do-nothing guy that really kind of just came out of nowhere this week. But they gave him, like, I think 20-something touches.
I lost because of him, bro.
It's just the worst. Josh Jacobs.
And Clyde. I was playing Clyde Edwards. It was tough.
Oh, Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a great week, too. He's really he's surprised me this year.
Dude, that Mahomes touchdown pass. The
one where he just flipped it. That was crazy, right at the line of scrimmage,
quarterback in the league. He's the best quarterback in the
Yes.
But, I got casuals around me saying Lamar is better. I know it's Cat. Mahomes is him. But
It is Mahomes.
This Falcons rushing attack, they do have. We saw yesterday after Patterson got hurt, Mariota won the game completely. I think 7 passes, and Travis Algier, and Caleb Huntley, who scored a touchdown. I was looking very closely on that game because they were in my parlay, but they stepped up. They ran the ball like 10 plays in a row, and they got in the end zone. So,
Yeah, shout out Arthur Smith for that bold play calling. I believe it was 10 run plays in a row, right?
it was
And they
something
just
like
ran
that.
on the field for a touchdown. I mean, that's what you do when
It ended up, yeah.
Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney were both out. That's what you got to do. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it, as they say. And it was not broke yesterday. But you lost your star running back, and you're replaced with. I mean, both those guys are rookies, right? Algier and Caleb Huntley. I believe they're both rookies or second-year guys that are going to get a chance to make some money here. I mean, you have a good year. You go throw out a couple touchdowns together, you're going to get a nice contract from some team. So go prove it. Give them your best.
Well, yeah, we'll see what goes down there in Atlanta. Definitely a huge loss for the Atlanta Falcons. Now we'll move on to the Monday Night Football preview. Tonight's game, the Los Angeles Rams will travel to the Bay Area in San Francisco to take on the San Francisco 49ers. Niners favored in this game, -2. And it's definitely an interesting spread based on this. I mean, based on the matchup. But last season, Niners completely swept the Rams until the playoffs. And, I mean, they're going to bring something here. But, guys, right out of the gate, what are you thinking about tonight?
All I got to say is I think Matt Stafford threw 7 picks in 3 games last year against the Niners. Niners got his number. They're at home. It's a must-win game. This NFC West, we were talking about it all offseason. It's going to get crazy. If the Niners win this game, every team is 2-2. I've just been sick. Sorry. Even Seattle's 2-2.
Yeah.
The Niners got to win this game. This is a must-win for them. Rams, they lost to the Bills week 1. They've looked good since, but they haven't looked great. They beat the Falcons. They almost choked that game. Who they beat last week? I don't even remember.
I'll go look. It was the Cardinals, 20-12.
Cardinals. Yeah, defensive game, slugfest. And Cardinals, everyone knows that the Rams have owned them. So, exception of week 4 last season. But Niners, they own the Rams. And
yeah.
And Matt's at -2. A lot of square Rams bettors are going to see that +2. So,
and I mean, you look at Matt Stafford's numbers going into the matchup: 765 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 5 picks on the season so far. Definitely not a stat to look good at. But another interesting stat is the leading receiver for the Niners is Brandon Ayuk with 10 catches for 142 yards. Deebo Samuel really playing in the back seat right now this season. It's been a very slow start for him.
Yeah. I mean, I am a Niners guy. I mean, they should have won that conference championship game if that guy didn't drop that pick. That's plain and simple. That spread, that line, that's an interesting line. -2, as Timmy would say. The old Tim Duffy that I knew would have been all over this Rams line. I know that for a fact.
I would have been.
I mean, the question all year has been, what's going on with the Rams? Do they need Odell or Robert Woods? A-Rob has not gotten going at all, really. They can't find it on the ground game. Like, what is good with Cam Akers? Because Cordell Patterson just went on that 1-4 fantasy team, and now Cam Akers is going to have to step up. I'm looking for something from him. It's going to be big just to see how, like, McVay and they attack this 49ers defense. But I think the big story will be they don't have Trent Williams tonight. And the 49ers, Jeff Wilson and Debo, they run the ball well together. Whether the Rams can control that line of scrimmage without Trent Williams, who's, what was he, like in the NFL top 100 by the players? I think he was one of the highest ranked ever linemen. He's clearly a difference maker for that team. And we'll see what the Rams can do. It's like everyone almost knows that the Niners own the Rams, so it's not a trap line. It's messing with my head. I don't know. What are we, an hour away from kickoff now? I don't know what I'm going to take. I can't decide on the side.
Yeah, it's
Niners
definitely
they need it.
It's a tough one. I mean, part of me really wants to take the Rams, But, I
Yeah.
mean, from what we've seen in the history of the Niners and Rams in recent memory and just it's tough. It really is. Niners defense doesn't look great until last week. Rams defense. Niners, they've kind of been shaky going from Trey Lance back to Jimmy Garoppolo. So, it's really a toss-up game. For me in this one,
What do you got, Chet? What do you got?
I'm stumped, dude. I'm really stumped. But if somebody held me at gunpoint and has told me to pick a team right now, I'm going to go Niners. I'm going to play it safe and go Niners because I feel like the Niners definitely have a very solid defense in terms of when it comes to really breaking down what Matt Stafford's going to do. And then Jimmy Garoppolo, I think he's going to get back in the saddle. He had a tough loss last week in Denver. Very ugly Sunday night game, I might add. And I think he's going to get George Kittle involved a little bit more since he's come off injury. I think Jeff Wilson will probably get going a little bit more tonight, along with the rest of the backfield. And then Deebo Samuel, I think we'll finally see him start to have a big game again once him and Garoppolo get back in the chemistry that they had last season.
Yeah, and Deebo owns the Rams. We saw it a couple times last year, especially in January, the 2 times they met. But hey, man, I'm going with the Niners too. I think it's going to be more high scoring than you think, as a lot of these games have been this week. I think the Niners are going to win this one 34-23.
Jeez, Timmy. That's a big score right there.
34-23?
Ruined some teasers.
Niners alternate spread.
All right. So you guys both want to take the Niners. Of course, I'm obviously going to take the Rams. All right. We're not going to sit here. We're not going to take your foolish actions. You guys are falling for it. You think it's a trap line, but it's not. All right. It's not a trap line. The Rams, they are clearly been owned by the Niners. Everyone thinks that's what's going to happen. But the Rams are going to come out here and they're going to win this game. They're going to take a commanding lead of division, as they should, because they are the best team in the division. All right. The Rams are going to come out and win this game 27-20. But my free play of the day, we're going George Kittle, like you said. Chet, it is going to be his day. First touchdown. He loves primetime football. George Kittle is plus 800 first touchdown score. That is the take. Or plus 200 anytime. Those 2 plays would be my plays. Jimmy G and him, have a special connection. He's got another week in him of rest. I think he's going to be that guy today. All right.
I'm going to go final score. Niners win 27-26.
34-23, baby.
Rams all day.
Rams and Niners.
Honestly, I like that George Kittle lock.
That's why I like you, man. That's why I like you.
And what I like about you, Cam, is you brought such a great segment in last week that I want to do it again. So let's hear it, dude. Take it away.
All right, we got a couple names. You guys just let me know when we stop. We could probably get like 7 or 8 in here quickly.
Yeah.
So first, we will go with a guy who made his season debut this week. He led an unbelievable game-winning drive that might have cost my friend Tim Duffy over $1,000. So obviously Tim is probably not on his list, but I'm very curious. One of my roommates is big on this guy, and I hate him. I hate the Jets. I hate everything about him. What do you guys think about Zach Wilson, man? Is this guy him? Is he Himothy? I'm out. I'll tell you that. I'm out.
Some background, I had a 7-leg parlay, 6 legs hit. The only one that missed was Jets Steelers under 42, and it was the last leg I put in there. I was iffy about it, and I shouldn't have been until Zach Milfson comes in this game and pushes it over 42, 24-20 victory. And Zach Wilson, I said the whole drive, he's not him. He's not him. I'm not worried. It's Zach Wilson. He won't do this. Converts 2 third downs. The drive goes 5 of 5, or I think it was 6 for 6 on the final drive. But to answer your question, Cam, Zach Wilson is not him. He's not him.
Good answer.
He's not him, and I don't like his size. I don't like his leadership ability, and I just don't think he's that good coming from BYU. So I don't think he's that good. I think Mac Jones is a lot better. I think Trevor's a lot better. The only one I think he's worse than he's better than is Justin Fields. Trey Lance, he's probably better than Trey Lance, actually. Yeah, he's definitely better than Trey Lance.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Zach Wilson, he's been injured the last 2 seasons, and I mean, he's had his playing time throughout. He's had some decent outings, but I don't see enough consistency for me to say he's my guy because I just don't. The Jets, it's the Jets. Poverty franchise, a franchise that nobody can ever sit down and be like, oh, yeah, like they always, dude, anytime you talk about the Jets, it's Joe Namath, Joe Namath, Joe Namath, Joe Namath. And Joe Namath played like shit throughout the entire career. He threw a ton of picks. The only reason the Jets won the Super Bowl is because of the defense. And the Jets, they just don't. I don't know. They've got some talented players that they've picked up in the draft. Breece Hall, definitely pretty solid at the tailback position, but I feel like we need to see a lot more develop around Zach Wilson and himself before I can say he's the guy. So for now, he is not my guy.
Yeah, 3 no's for Zach Wilson. I mean, at the end of the day, they got the pieces around him. They draft heavily in that offensive line. Him and Elijah Moore did look really good. Garrett Wilson has looked great so far, becoming a reliable flex option in some leagues. But he's not him. At the end of the day, he's absolutely not. He is too inexperienced. He's got injuries, but one thing in the back of my mind, the whole mom thing, that is crazy. It's a crazy story. So he might be just a little bit, but we'll see if it translates to the football field. But next, the guy who is in hot water right now. He hasn't played yet this year. He's got a new squad, and his squad looks kind of brutal without them. Kevin Stefanski is kind of on my hot seat of just questionable play calls that I've seen from that Jets game that they lost. But, like, is Deshaun Watson going to come back, and are they going to be a playoff team with him? Is he going to be able to lead a Browns team to the Super Bowl, do you think?
If he does, I'm done being a football fan. I'd be pissed. And Chet, you want to begin actually before I go on my Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, I mean, so as many viewers know, Deshaun Watson has been at the other end of me and Duffy's boot throughout the entire history of this show. We hate this dude to the end of time for what he's done off the field. But on the field, he's a spectacular player. You can't deny the talent that Deshaun Watson brings to an offense. Is this Browns team really in the right position right now to win a Super Bowl? Defensively, kind of, but offensively, sort of. I like their backs. And for Deshaun Watson, he's a guy that's a franchise player. He is without a doubt in my mind a quarterback that can lead your squad to the Super Bowl. So honestly, if I'm a GM and I want a quarterback in the league that's talented, that's mobile, that can throw the ball well accurately and make big plays, it's going to be him. He's going to be on my radar. So for me, I don't think it's going to be this year, but there's potential. You could potentially lead the Browns to the Super Bowl. I'd say Deshaun Watson is one of my guys. He is my guy.
Oh, jeez. I'm never going to call Deshaun Watson my guy, so I actually won't give my final thesis.
Exactly. That's why I'd say he's one of my guys.
I don't support this guy. Super Bowl with this Browns team? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this Browns team is really good from head to toe. Good defense, good defensive line, good secondary. They signed good running backs. Great, probably the best running back tandem in the whole NFL, and solid receivers. And they've signed a lot of these core values to their team for the next few years. So the window for Deshaun Watson when he does return is bigger than a lot of other quarterbacks' windows. So, and if he just loads back into football for me, he has not played in 2 years, almost 700 days since he's last suited up for an NFL team. And, we'll see if he still has it. But if he plays like he did when he last played football, then I think he has a good chance of leading this Browns team to the Super Bowl. I really hope it's not this year. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a guy.
Browns look good, but they look bad at the same time. They somehow managed to do that. But Deshaun Watson, he is a game changer. He's miles ahead of Jacoby Brissett in his game. He'll definitely change his team to turn around, but that's a tough division still at the end of the day. Those Bengals games, those Ravens games, they're always tough games. He's going to have to prove he can win in that AFC North, but he's got a lot of playoff experience. It's very curious to see a Browns team that could have beat that Chiefs game. I still am mad about that game. I still want that playoff game, and I still think they should have. And Baker would have been, I think, totally differently viewed in this public perception, but he's not helping himself in the Panthers at all.
No,
that's for sure. But he's not. He is the guy, sadly, as much as we all hate him here.
Mhm.
He's got a lot of talent, and he will lead that Browns team further on. But next, we'll go with a smaller guy, a guy who I personally do not like. He loves to play video games, and he's that little boy down in the NFC West, Mr. Kyler Murray. All right. Do you guys like this Cardinals team? Do you think they could get to a Super Bowl potentially with Kyler in such a tough division right now? And I saw a little clip of him and Cliff Kingsbury going at it. I just don't know if Kyler is the right fit there in Arizona.
I think Kyler's the right fit. He's an extremely talented player. I don't think Kingsbury's the right fit. I'm not a big Cliff Kingsbury guy. Oftentimes, me and Chet talk about this a lot. Back in the early days of the show, I think about that 2020 collapse they had. This team was 8-6, had to win one game to get in the playoffs, lose their last two to the Niners with no Garoppolo. I think it was C.J. Beathard at home, and they lose to the Rams against John Wolford. They lost to two backup quarterbacks in the last two games and scored a total of, I think, 19 points those last two games. So I'll look back to that a lot. But Kyler Murray, can he lead this Cardinals team to the Super Bowl? I think as long as Cliff Kingsbury's there, as long as that culture's there, no. I don't think so. And I know it's going to hurt Chet as he's wearing the D-Hop shirt right now. He's a big Cardinals fan.
I wouldn't say that, but
I'm going to say no, but I think he's talented enough. I think in a different situation, he could. But this Cardinals team right now, they're not making out the first round of the playoffs once again. I don't think so. Right now, the answer is no for me, but I think he is extremely talented and he has the talent to do so. But in Arizona, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, so I totally agree with everything you just said there because I definitely think Cliff Kingsbury is what's holding Kyler Murray back from being a great quarterback. And we have seen Kyler Murray make some of the most elusive and just amazing plays at the quarterback position. I have never seen a guy run around the pocket like that or just in general find openings downfield and throw the ball accurately at times. And for me, yes, I think he totally could be my guy. But right now, no, I absolutely do not think so, especially the fact that he's missing DeAndre Hopkins in that offense currently at the moment, currently on suspension. And I mean, there's some pieces there that still need to be worked on. The defense, it's all right. It's not the greatest I've ever seen, but the offense is in a good position. He's got the weapons there to be productive. It's just the culture and the coaching. I think that's what's really led into the fact that Kyler Murray hasn't really gotten beyond the wild card game in his NFL career. So for me, he is my guy, but he's also not my guy at the moment. I think he definitely has potential to go and be in the Super Bowl one day. But right now, no.
Yeah, I agree with your take, Tim, that Cliff Kingsbury could probably be the issue. I mean, Cliff did what seems to be the impossible right now and made Patrick Mahomes kind of irrelevant. Like, what did they do together at where he went to? Texas Tech. Like, that's where Kingsbury came from. And nobody really knew of Mahomes until he came into the NFL and had that electric start that he did. Which right now you go back and you're like, how? What happened to this kid in the 1 year with the Chiefs that made him almost the best player in the NFL? What was going on? And you could argue coaching carried Mahomes carried him to the spot that he never even should have had in the first place. But you never know. But Kyler, he's like you said, he's talented, he's good. Maybe lay off the video games or something. That thing in his contract make me like it's a huge red flag. That's like never been seen before, that he needs a minimum number of hours of studying. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's literally crazy that's a thing. And then there's those stats where he's like 3 and 15 on Call of Duty double XP weekends. Like some crazy stats out there that throw up some huge red flags. So I'll go with no. 2. But, I mean, they were 8-0 just a year ago, and so you'll see. But it's a tough division to be successful in, and I'm with you, Tim. I don't see them getting out of the wild card here, that's for sure, even if they make it.
All right, we're getting to top of the hour, so let's get one more in.
All right, we'll do one more. All right, we'll go with a guy that there's a lot of beef. Tim and I, we have a friend who likes to talk about him every day. There's constant, the best team in the NFL, you could say right now. he might be the MVP front runner. He's at least top 5. I know that, right? I'm not double sure about that. Mr. Jalen Hurts, man, they look very good. You could say it's the defense. I just saw today that they've got 400 yards of total offense in each game. They're probably the number 1 rushing team in the NFL. And this guy went from a guy who lost his job in the national championship, having to transfer schools, to becoming a premier NFL starter who would top 5 clearly in fantasy, arguably one of the best fantasy quarterbacks, whether that has to do with winning or not. But look at their schedule too. I mean, they could go 17-0 if they wanted to. They have 3 tough games I was looking at. It's like the Packers, you could call the Cowboys, those 2 games, like they're only tough games. It's crazy how easy their schedule is, and I hate it. Why aren't they playing good teams? Like, it's ridiculous. But he looks great. The Eagles' defense looks great. Right now, if you told me that they were in the Super, like I said earlier with the Bills, I would not be surprised. And it's shocking. I don't know if Jalen Hurts could beat a Tom Brady in January. I don't know if he could beat an Aaron Rodgers, because last year they didn't even look like they got off the bus when they went to Tampa Bay. But we'll clearly see this year, and we'll probably see, as of right now, a home game in Philly, which when we saw those underdogs back in 2018, I believe 2017, that was a different team. Those black unis, they were a different monster. They get behind that city and they go. And right now, I could definitely see Jalen Hurts raising a Super Bowl trophy for Philly.
Yeah, so my story with Jalen Hurts is when he came into the league, I was subtly impressed, but at the same time, I was like, he's on the Eagles. I mean, what's this guy going to do at the end of the day? The Eagles haven't really done much since they won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles in distant memory at this point. But go from then to today and seeing Jalen Hurts go last season as the starter, and then going into this year, they've surrounded him with a very good offense. And the offense is performing at a totally different level at this point with Jalen Hurts as their starter. And even the defense has really improved and picked up its pace going into this season. So for me right now, Eagles are sitting at 4-0. They look really good. They're the front runners right now in the NFC at the moment. And for me, I think I could totally see Jalen Hurts at some point being the guy. And I definitely think he's my guy in terms of everybody you just named on this list from this week and last week. If I had to pick one of the guys here, he's my guy. He's really proven it to me. He's changed my opinion on him completely. And especially from those dots he was throwing to Devonta Smith a few weeks ago, this guy's got it. And he's definitely here to stay and be one of the dominant quarterbacks in football.
Yeah, I mean, he's here to stay, and really all he's done is win games since he became the starting quarterback for the Eagles. I just feel like it's unfair for me to say that Kyler Murray's not the guy and then say Hurts is, because I do think Murray's a better version of Hurts.
Ooh.
Sorry, as of right now.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It's tough.
Kyler, better version of Hurts?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I mean, I would still take Kyler Murray to start a franchise with, but Jalen Hurts, all he's done is win, though. I can't deny it. You know, I got an Eagles fan in the house. I hope they don't win the Super Bowl because we'll never hear the end of it.
Ever.
It would be the worst. But yeah, I'll say he's the guy.
Yeah.
And he's won a lot of games. You know, like you said, the only really bad game you can remember him having that was excruciatingly bad. It's kind of that wild card game last year. Didn't look like they got off the bus the first 3 quarters, but you know, he's just won games. And that defense too for the Eagles is probably the best in the NFL right now. They're getting 4 takeaways yesterday. Actually, five takeaways, I think it was, against the Jags. And you know, the NFC East pretty limp. It's a pretty limp division. So we'll see.
They got the Cardinals next week away, which is a tough game. I was thinking they probably will be favored still. But after that, right, you go to 5-0 if they win that. You got Cooper Rush at home, Cowboys. And you got the Steelers. Who knows what's going on there with Trubisky or Pickett. Then you play at the Texans, and then you're home against the Commanders before you're facing the Colts and the Packers. But those are 5 games in a row. 4 games where they're going to be favored by, I think, 5+ points in all those games. And you could easily be looking at 9-0, which is crazy, the Eagles. But knowing them, hopefully they mess up, lose a couple of games, and they just start stinking. But you never know.
Yeah, And I mean, you kind of look at the schedule for them this season. It's been very simple, very easy so far. I mean, the only tough games I see on this schedule is Colts and Packers and potentially Titans and Saints. Other than that, they should be wiping the floor with most of these teams that they're facing. But then, of course, you got to bring in divisional matchups into the equation. Right now, the Eagles, they've got themselves a pretty easy schedule. So it kind of comes down to the fact, can they win those tight games? And the ones specifically that I just mentioned will be tough ones. And if they can, Jalen Hurts is the guy. But as of right now, yeah, he's the guy.
I hate him. Sorry, I hate him.
All right. Well,
right now, those are the key words.
Yeah.
Recency bias is crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, no, he's not the guy. Gotta go back to my true roots.
Oh, my God. All right. Well, that concludes this week's episode, or at least this Monday's episode of Unapologetic with Chet and Duffy here on Fans Only Sports Network. Thank you all for tuning into this week's episode. Thursday's episode will be postponed until Friday afternoon, so be sure to check out that. We will have, of course, a Thursday night recap as opposed to Mostert. Yeah, bro. This guy's cousin.
Niners -2, guys. That's if anything was going to tell you, it's the Raheem Mostert memorabilia.
Absolutely.
Niners -2.
George Kittle, anytime touchdown plus 200.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Cam, once again, thank you for coming on to this week's episode. You're always welcome. Definitely would love you to come up with some more creative segments as you have. And we'll definitely continue to keep this going.
Guys, I'll be back soon. Don't worry. Let's have a great Monday night. Go Rams.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Chet and Duffy signing off. And as always, forget it. Go Pats.
Go Pats, baby.
Go Pats.